Hi BookTube, it's Gina. I wanted to talk to you today about my December reading. I had such a fun reading month in December. I love the holiday season. I did some Christmas reading and just some generally cozy reading last month, and it was a joy. So I wanted to share with you what I read. Now, I did read some Christmas books. I read some non-Christmas books. Some of them were on my Kindle. Some of them I have copies of. So let's just jump right in. And the first one, okay, this is the last time I'm going to talk about this book for a while. I did do my reread of Rosamunde Pilcher's Winter Solstice, one of my favorite Christmas-y winter books. This is not a Christmas book, but it has some wonderful Christmas scenes. So I know I have talked about this book a million times over the last couple months, and now you won't have to listen to me natter on about it anymore. I will not reread it again for at least a year, maybe more, but I have a feeling this might become a yearly reread because it's just such a cozy, fun, relaxing read. I love it. The other couple Christmas books I read that are contemporaries that I really enjoyed. The first one is The Book Club Hotel by Sarah Morgan. Look at that cover. Isn't that just gorgeous? I really enjoyed this book. This is about a group of friends that have a yearly book club. They pick a spot that they're going to meet, usually in the summertime, and for a variety of reasons they decide to meet in an inn in the country in winter at Christmas time, and it's very cozy. I had a little bit of trouble in the beginning with this one because all of the characters are fairly stereotypical, archetypal women. There's the overworked female executive who doesn't ever want a relationship. There's the mom whose kids are getting ready to go to college and she's having a hard time dealing with it. There's the single woman whose boyfriend just broke up with her, and they have all of the kind of reactions that you would imagine. So it was a little difficult because I was like, oh, I've read about these characters a million times before. But once it got into the story, I really did end up loving it. This book and this book, I would say, are 3-star reads for me. I love my 3-star reads. I know a lot of people really are searching for that 5-star. But for me, a lot of these books they're never going to be great literature. They're never going to be 5-star reads, but I still love them. I still really enjoy them. And there's nothing wrong with reading and loving some 3 stars. So this is Christmas by the Book by Anne Marie Ryan. This is definitely a Christmas book about a married couple who own a bookstore that is in some financial trouble, and what they do around that, how they solve their problems, and I really enjoyed this one too. Very, very cozy Christmas read. Next, I read Walking Across Egypt by Clyde Edgerton. What I loved about this book, one of you recommended this to me last year or the year before when I did a video about my favorite old lady characters. Somebody recommended this to me, and this indeed does have a fantastic old lady main character named Maddie. She's in her 80s and she's living alone. It's so funny in the beginning because she keeps talking about how she's slowing down. And the next thing you know, she's cooking dinner for 6 people. She's taking her chairs apart. She's driving to church. She's doing gardening. It's like her version of slowing down is still probably more than I do in a day. But I did love that character. The story got a little in the middle of it. I didn't quite love the direction it headed, but I really enjoyed this. A lot of really great things about that main character that were a lot of fun to read. This one is set in North Carolina, so very southern country kind of feel to it. Next, I read Village Affairs by Miss Reed. This is an entry in the Fairacre series with Miss Reed as the school teacher and all of her kids around her. This is a book about the school that Miss Reed works at potentially closing in their village. And it's very stressful for people, and they're fighting to keep the village school open. And it's just a very sweet village tale. One of my favorites. This one was also actually a 3-star read for me. Let's see. Then the next 3 that I have, I read on my Kindle. I reserved them from the library and got them and read them on my Kindle, which I love. And actually this one I have on my Kindle. I read this one on my Kindle too, and I read this one on my Kindle. So I did read a lot on my Kindle last month. But the next one that I read was Evidence of Things Seen by Elizabeth Daly, which I had not heard of before. Again, one of you recommended this book to me. It is a mystery set in the American countryside, not in England, which is different for me. It is I think it's a series. It says it's a Henry Gamage series, which I hadn't heard of before, but this one was a lot of fun. It really focuses on Gamage's wife, who is staying in a country house, and someone gets murdered, and they have to solve the murder, and it's really fun. The murder, when you see who the murderer is, you're just like, oh, duh, of course it was that person. How could I have missed it? But up until that point, of course, it's just very well drawn. I do think the solution to the murder, I had seen in another book somewhere. I was trying to remember where I had seen it before, because it was, once I read it, I went, oh yeah, that sounded familiar, but I can't remember where it was from. So really fun book, really enjoyed it. Next, I read Christmas at Thrush Green, which sadly I don't have a copy of. Christmas at Thrush Green is the final book in the Thrush Green series. It was primarily written by Miss Reed's editor, because at that point Miss Reed was aging. She could no longer really write the book on her own, so she collaborated with her editor, and you can see that. So it's not as well written as some of her other books, but still wonderful. Lots of wonderful Christmas scenes. There's a Christmas pageant, a Christmas dinner, Christmas party, Christmas drinks. It's a really sweet, really good story. Now, probably not a good one to start with if you want to start reading Miss Reed, because it is the last one in a series. But honestly, the spoilers in a Miss Reed book are pretty minimal. So if you wanted to read that one first for Christmas, you certainly could. I love it. One of my favorites. And then lastly, I read the new Alexander McCall Smith, which I had reserved at the library months ago, and it finally came in. It's called From a Far and Lovely Country. And I was actually pleasantly surprised by this one. I was sort of starting to feel like this series had run its course for me. Some of the last that I have read have been really thin. This one was short. It wasn't super robust, but a very sweet story. And I feel like Alexander McCall Smith really kind of came through with this book. It was much better than a couple of the last ones that I've read. So overall, I really enjoyed it. I had such a fun month reading in December. I really enjoyed all of the books that I read. I can say I didn't really have any stinkers. Probably Walking Across Egypt was my least favorite, just because it became a little bit unbelievable for me in the middle, the direction it took, but still enjoyable. And yeah, just a really fun reading month. So I hope you had a good reading month too, and are getting ready for the new year, making some plans, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.